In this video, I'm going to grow tomato plants using two methods. The first one will be a simple pot filled with potting soil, and the second will be a self-watering planter also filled with potting soil. The advantage and difference of the self-watering planter is that it will require less care because the planter setup provides a constant supply of water to the plant in the soil. So this is just an experiment as I'm getting started with growing plants, and my objective is just to see how the plant will grow in these systems. The first thing I want to do is germinate my seeds. For this I need some tomato seeds, a plastic container, paper towel, and some water. I'm taking the seeds directly from a tomato I bought in the supermarket. First, I scoop the seeds out of the tomato. Then I rinse the seeds to remove the jelly around them. And when I'm done rinsing, I dry them using the paper towel. While the seeds are drying, I prepare the plastic container by placing a white paper towel at the bottom. After that, I place my seeds on the towel. The paper towel will act as a substrate for the seedlings when germinating and will retain moisture when I water the seedlings. Finally, I close the lid to keep moisture inside the box. So we can see the germination is happening, but I made a couple of mistakes. The first is that after the seeds had germinated, I should have placed the seedlings in a sunny location because as soon as their baby leaves are out, they are looking for sunlight. You can see that the seedlings lack sunlight because they are a bit elongated. They are kind of leggy. So now it's day 19 and I finally transplanted the seedlings into their final system. I could have done it sooner, but I procrastinated a little bit. As I said in the beginning, I am comparing two systems, a normal pot and a self-watering planter. There are two of each, and the only difference is that the self-watering planter reduces the need of daily watering by providing a constant supply of water through the wick placed between the top and bottom part of the planter. The bottom part acts as a water reservoir and the top part is where the plant is growing with its substrate. Let's see how they will grow. So now it's day 24 and we can see that the seedlings got acclimated to their new environment. The first true leaves are coming out. These are the leaves that the plant will have during the rest of their lives. The leaves before that, the baby leaves, were some sort of food stores the seedlings were using to help them grow during the early days. We can already notice that the seedlings in the pots are a bit more advanced than the ones in the self-watering planters. Let's see if the difference continues as time passes. So now it's day 28. We can clearly see the true leaves in the potted seedlings. They're looking nice and healthy. The ones in the self-watering planter are less developed. They are just starting to come out. The difference here is in part because of me, because normally in a self-watering planter you should be watering from time to time from the top to help change the air in the soil and also to water the top part of the planter. But I wanted to see if the plant could still grow if I only fill up the bottom reservoir and never water the planter. So basically, I wanted to see if it can properly water itself and be totally hand-free. So the only maintenance will be to keep the reservoir at the bottom filled with water. As of the normal pot, it needs daily watering, so I water in the morning to keep the soil nicely hydrated. We have reached day 36. All the seedlings have around 2 leaves now. We can say we're properly into the vegetative stage of their lives. So for tomato plants, you first have the seeds, then the seeds germinate, so you have the seedlings, and then they enter the vegetative stage. So that's when they just put out a lot of leaves to capture the maximum amount of sunlight. And after the vegetative, you go to the flowering stage when they put out the flowers, and then the fruiting stage with the tomatoes coming out. So here we're just in the part of their lives where they just want to put out leaves to catch some sunlight. So I feel that the growth is a bit slow, and I think it's because of two reasons. The first is the lack of sunlight. So I'm in Bonn in Germany right now, and it's raining all the time. The seedlings get less than 4 hours of sunlight per day, and even when it's sunny, it's indirect because it's through a window. Normally I should add some artificial lights to support the growth, but I don't have any right now, and I also want to see how much they could grow with the current level of light. The second reason is the lack of soil. There are too many seedlings per pot, especially in the self-watering planters, so they're lacking the space needed to develop properly. And also, well, with little amount of soil and too many seedlings, they're also consuming all the nutrients in the soil, so they might lack nutrients to fully develop. Okay, it's now day 46. I really should be transplanting them, but I'm also curious to see how big they can get in these conditions. The potted ones have much more foliage than the ones in the planters. So let's jump forward. So now it's day 82. The tomato plants grew a lot, but it's obviously a poor result if we compare it to a normal tomato plant that would have had enough space and sunlight. By now they should have at least flowers and be ready to start producing fruits. This really shows how some conditions can really limit the development of a plant. The plants also stretched and look a bit leggy. This shows the lack of sunlight. I'm stopping the experiment now as I'm about to travel out of Germany. I think the main lesson from this project is the importance of providing the adequate conditions for the development of the plant, such as space and light in this case, but other factors like nutrients and are also to keep in mind. For example, we can see that some leaves are turning yellow, and this is a sign of nutrient deficiency. By now, the plants must have consumed all the nutrients available in their small pots. The self-watering planters were also convenient because I could really fill up the reservoirs and forget about the plants. So it was really low maintenance, and I like that. I did not need to water at all, but the price was the slower growth. Maybe by using a bigger planter and watering once or twice a week, I could get better results. It will be fun to try again, and this time aim to get some fruits out of the project instead of just looking at how big the plant could get with these limited conditions. So this is it for the video. I hope it was helpful in some way. Until then, have a nice growth.